All right, hey, welcome back, everybody. And so here again with Greg Harrelson, my business partner, and just want to keep trying to get as much information in front of you as possible. We're all in this thing together and going to continue to grow our business through this process. And I know, Greg, one of the recent things that you did is you put some information together because the fear and the uncertainty in the world right now. And why don't you go through and just give us an idea of kind of what you created? I know it was a really, really good presentation, so I think
Yeah.
the agents are going to get some good benefit from this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So fear is just one of those things that I mean, it exists in
Mhm.
most real estate agents' minds right now. Owners of real estate companies, team leaders. I mean, it's hard to deny that we don't have some level of fear right now, and that fear is different. You know, when I'm talking to real estate agents, because you and I are constantly communicating with our agents within our operations and
Mhm.
helping them navigate through challenging times, whether it's the coronavirus, the economic issues on the stock market, or or market crashes before, or 911 when that happened. Gosh,
Mhm.
I had to help agents work through that too. But this time's a little bit different. This time, it's like there's some things that people feel like they just don't control, and it's bothering them. Like we can't really control right now what's going on with the stock market and with the coronavirus. So I want to say this: fear exists, but you have to know that fear is contagious. Fear itself is kind of like a virus. It's contagious. It spreads amongst all of us when we leave it to flourish. And if we leave it to flourish and we don't do anything about it, it can take us down.
Mhm.
And I've seen that in the real estate industry. This is why I'm coaching, and you're coaching so much within our company to prevent this from happening to our real estate agents, keep them going and building their businesses. But we're seeing it across the country that fear is just taking people down. It's not actually a shift in the business. It's not whether or not they're an essential service or not. It's
Mhm.
not whether or not they're at stay-at-home orders within their community. That's not what's taking people down. It's the fear of all of that that's taking people down. What you have to understand, we got to control what we can control, and we got to stop stressing over what we cannot control. What happens a lot of times is people start stressing over what they can't control, and that distracts them from controlling what they can control.
Mhm.
And so here's the key. Like, people say, well, how do you get over the fear? Well, let me just say this. In my years of coaching, here's what I've observed about coaching hundreds, if not thousands, of real estate agents. Here's what I've learned. Agents who are experiencing fear, their fear is more centered around not having an idea of what to do next,
Mhm.
more so than what fears are out there in the external world. Meaning,
Yeah. What's
like,
causing it?
it's not about the, like, I'm fearing the virus, and believe me, I'm not making light of that, but it's not the stock market that we're fearing. It's not the real estate that we're fearing. What we're fearing is, what do I do next? And when what do I do next goes unanswered, then the fear just grows inside of us.
Mhm.
And, like, there's fears like the market may go down. There's fears I might not be able to make any sales. I might not make any money. I might not be able to take listings. And one of the things that I say is this is how you get through it. Take whatever fears you have and write them down. Step number one, take the fears that are in your head, get them on paper. When you get them out of your head and on paper, all of a sudden it calms you down a little bit. But that's not enough. Write down the fear. Like, let's just say, gosh, I might not be able to get listings right now. Okay, write that down. My fear is I might not be able to get listings right now because people don't want their property shown. Okay, then that's your fear. Now let's create the solution. If I'm not able to get listings right now because people don't want their home shown, I will do blank. Fill in the blank. See, when the answer is blank, fear exists. When you fill in the blank, fear goes away.
Yeah.
Take every single fear you have, write it down, and then restate the fear as if this happens, then I will do blank, and then start executing on the blank, and you'll start moving forward again. So that was the conversation I really started having. And it was something new that I had created for a webinar, and just glad we got to share that. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love it. So let me flip it around and say, instead of talking about fear, what's it take to get through, or what's the opposite of fear? It's courage, right? And somebody somewhere, the definition of courage is not being afraid or not having fear. It's being afraid and still moving forward. So people that are courageous, it's not that they're not scared. It's that they're scared, but they still move forward. And so fear is not what puts people out of business. It's the lack of moving forward. It's the lack of action. It's the lack of filling in the blank, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that I think that's exactly what you were talking about. Listen, you can be fearful for it, but here's the way to get through it. Know what the next step is, because if the next step is this, then it's just a decision. All right, I got to take the next step. And then you can actually move forward with it. The other thing that this came up in our normally everybody together doing sales meeting, but for the last month we've been doing them in Charleston with the Zoom meeting and stuff. So this came up yesterday, and we were talking about, one of the things I wanted to talk about was, let's talk about some things that are really great, that we feel really, really good about, because the negativity is everywhere. You can find it within arm's length all day, every day. And the one thing that I'm so grateful for is the contrast right now. And the contrast, if you will change the way you're looking at it, is really, really important, because very few of us would not take the opportunity, if we had the choice, to go back to like February 1st. Even if you're thinking, oh man, my year's not starting out that great, you'd probably go back to February 1st versus, April 2nd. And so that contrast that happens so quickly, that's what's going to make the other side so great. But it's got to be that decision that you fill in the blank, like you said, and then move forward so that you can get to the other side. So you don't, the fear doesn't take you out at the knees.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. So there's a good conversation about fear and courage. I'm so thankful that you brought that up, because I didn't add that to my talk, but that surely would be something that would be beneficial. They really do kind of contrast but complement in a way. So, hey, there you go. Hopefully this information you'll find helpful. Brendan and I are committed to helping you all do what we can to help you all, continue to move your business forward. We understand that there's challenges out there. We're realists, but we also understand that, we've got some experience and we have the desire to help real estate agents. So if there's anything we can do for you, please just reach out to us. I know, Brendan, you and I were talking about, some people are reaching out to us and asking us questions, and we're more than willing to get on a Zoom call with you and just answer these questions and see if we can make a difference and help you through some of your challenges. So just reach out to us if that's possible, or if you find a value in that, and we'll do that. All right, Brendan.
Sure. Thanks.